We continue our voyage to the Marshall Islands by making 2 big milestones in this upcoming episode. Our J-46 has already crossed the equator once and will now do so for the second time. But what makes this passage really special is our ability to travel into the future by crossing the dateline. Join me, Kate, Curtis, and Roxy the dog aboard our sailing vessel Sweet Ruka as we continue on our adventurous 1,800-mile trip from American Samoa to the Marshall Islands. During the darkness of night, we managed to cross into the Eastern Hemisphere and the dateline, thus traveling into the future. It was now the next day. Our longitude no longer had a W next to it, but an E, and we are 1 milestone closer to our circumnavigation. Next up would be crossing the equator again on this passage. After discovering the tear in our sail last night, we put up the spare number 3 jib that we sailed all through Patagonia with. We wish we had a little bit more sail area in these light winds from that Genoa, but we'll take having a good sized jib over nothing any day. We waited till it was a little bit cooler to put the jib up. We had anywhere from 12 to 16 knots all day yesterday and through the night, and now it's starting to lighten up until to be about 7 to 9 knots of breeze. But we are just cracked off the wind, so we're almost upwind here, and the wave state is probably the best it's been. It's just a little choppy, but we don't have these waves really from all directions, and they're quite small, so it's fairly comfortable sailing. Anyways, for now, enjoying. We've got these lovely clouds providing some shade from time to time. And yeah, now I'm going to make lunch, and we're at 1 degrees, so we're going to be celebrating going over the equator soon for the second time. Woohoo!
Well, the wind has just completely gone to bed out here in the middle of the Pacific. We're still about 700 miles south of the Marshall Islands, really in the middle of nowhere. The closest things to us are Chinese fishing boats. There's nothing around that you can see, but it is beautiful out. We're gonna keep hanging out here enjoying the sunset. We might have to float for another day or so. We'll see if we can continue to motor, but I think we want to save a little bit of our fuel just in case we need it. It's a good sunset.
Great sunset.
Tell us about it. Tell us about the colors of it.
Well, we had all these beautiful oranges, yellows, and pinks. And even though there's a lot of clouds, we could actually see it set on the horizon, which is my favorite. So another great sunset on the open ocean.
What was your favorite color in the sunset?
Orange.
Did it give you that feeling?
Gave me that feeling.
This was a good sunset. The calm water, everything gave me a really good feeling. It's not sailing. Better day for fishing, but
Still a great day to be on the water.
it gave me a feeling of peace and excitement for the new wind to come.
Yep.
We're close to the center of the earth.
For our longitudes, we cross from west to east, so that's pretty exciting. Next up, we're going to cross the equator and go from south to north. Whoa!
Yay. Well, we just looked at the forecast and it looks like we're not going to have any wind for about 18 hours. So we're just going to drop the mainsail and float out here for a little bit. Just enjoy the nice weather. So that way we'll stop it from sliding back and forth, doing any damage to itself, causing any wear and tear. So let's go ahead and get them down. There we go.
Ready? Well guys, I gotta interrupt this mainsail takedown. We just had the sunset and now the moon is rising like, I don't know, 15 minutes later, and it is spectacular. A full moon. We got a pink sky. It looks orange on camera, but super pink right ahead of us, and the moon right behind me.
It's down.
We don't always get to watch the sunrise, but this particular morning was quite a memorable one. A small object poked through the surface of the water behind our boat as we drifted along at a slow speed. Something we've never seen offshore before. An oceanic white-tipped shark swam lackadaisically behind Sweet Ruka's rudder. It lunged for the camera at first, but eventually left it alone and allowed us to get a few close-ups. From now on, I'll probably hesitate when jumping in the water offshore on a calm day. The slightest amount of breeze filled in, and for the downwind angle we chose the lightness of the Gennaker to glide us along the Pacific, as opposed to the heavy mainsail which could slat if there was not enough wind to keep it full. So we left it tucked away and launched the G3.
Well guys, we drifted through the night with the sails down, and I think I just had some of the best sleep ever. There's nothing out here to hit, and the boat wasn't rolling too bad on the waves with the sails down, just drifting along. So we decided to, well, Curtis decided to unfurl the jib this morning, and we were kind of rolling along at, I don't know, 0.8 knots of boat speed, and it was slatting a little bit, so not super great. But finally we've got 3 to 5 knots of wind speed instead of 1 to 3. So we thought we'd try putting up our G3 spinnaker here. And so far it's flying. It's had a few iffy moments, but we just put it up, so we're gonna see how it goes. And if we can sail today, that would be super awesome. We're not really expecting more wind until this evening. So if we can make progress in this, it's a win. Well, everybody, it's blowing 2.7 knots, gusting to 3.7 knots. When it was gusting to 5, 6, sometimes 7, we were flying right along. But now, it's everything I can to just to keep this spinnaker full. And sometimes the wind shifts 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 degrees. But we're still moving forward. 0.9, 1 knot of boat speed or so. It's a beautiful day. It's not too hot, finally. Ooh, 1.2 knots of boat speed. And still just hoping the wind fills in later today, but for now, we're still sailing. Sometimes I'm less sure if the reading at the masthead for the true wind angle is accurate. Is it just getting the breeze from the sail, making it seem like it's shifting? Or is it actually shifting? A combination of both. I'm trying to read the sail to see if we're pinched off or too loose. I'm trying to sail around 130, 120 true wind angle, but yeah, it's just hard to tell. But anyways, it's really chill, and we're just gonna keep on going for now. Yesterday, after we slept through the night with all the sails down, we decided to hoist the spinnaker, try to get some good apparent wind and movement. The sea state is really good, so we've just been sailing with the spinnaker all through the night even. Right now the wind is blowing about 11 to 12 knots with gusts to 16 or so, sometimes 14. And we're sailing about 155 true wind angle to 165 true wind angle. We just jibed this morning, but didn't film it as it was the first thing we did when we woke up. But we did jibe again previously the night before too, so we've got 2 jibes now with just the spinnaker up. We're kind of zigzagging our way, a little bit west, a little bit north, a little bit west, a little bit north. And as you can see, the breeze has filled in. So at a certain point, we're probably going to hoist the main. But we got to see what our angles are, because if it's really deep like we are right now, 155 to 165, we usually can't fly this G3 tight reaching spinnaker. We're going to see if we're just going to keep moving along like this right now and running him deep, or eventually switch to the mainsail. So we'll see what happens with the wind shifting and whatnot. It's definitely very strange out here with the oscillations when we're on wind mode. It just seems like we're zigzagging along because there's just these constant like little oscillations that are happening. So now we've switched to compass mode for a little bit, and the wind isn't too shifty so that the spinnaker is going to collapse or anything. Plus, it doesn't have the mainsail to get stuck behind, so it's really doing a good job at just pulling us along right now. At some point, late hours of the early morning, we did cross the equator. I'm hoping that we can cross the equator one of these days during the daylight, but I guess that's just what we're doing here at Sweet Ruka, the night missions crossing the equator. So we are back in the northern hemisphere, and we are also on the longitude of east, so that's really exciting, a big first for us.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed our content, it'd really help us out if you gave a like, a comment, and a share. Special thank you to our patrons for going the extra mile and making these videos possible. Stay tuned to see our thrilling conclusion and arrival to the Marshall Islands. Don't forget to click subscribe and come along for the ride. See you next time!